Clay in our comments saying, Upload VR is never late. They arrive precisely when they mean to, and I appreciate that
Always.
sentiment. Yeah.
Always.
Welcome to the Upload VR Showcase Pre-Show. My name is Ian Hamilton. I'm based in New York, joined by Don Hopper in Missouri. I'm coming through to you as an avatar on Quest 3 from our custom-built studios in VR using my internal Quest 3 microphone. Don here is likely to sound a lot better as he's routed in an external microphone today. My personal thanks to Smash Drums out there for supporting us in our showcase. It means everything to us, and I want to encourage our audience to think about clicking that Support Us button on the corner of UploadVR.com, where you can become a member or patron and support our work directly. We've got an incredible event for you starting at noon Pacific time today. We've checked the sound multiple times on that event, so it should sound fantastic once it's playing. Right now, though, we're coming at you live using VR hardware to show you a few more trailers that we couldn't fit into the hour-long event. Don, what are you excited for today?
Such a big show today, Ian. I tell you what, I'm excited for everything, man. Being able to have a little peek behind the curtain and see what you guys are about to see. All I can tell you is it's an incredible showcase coming up at noon, and it was so big that we decided to do a 2-hour pre-show. We've got a lot of stuff to cover today, a lot of cool trailers that just didn't make it into the main show today that we're going to be covering, and just a little conversation with you guys in the chat. So really excited.
Yeah, for those people that are unfamiliar with how this works, we've got VR Download and VR Gamescast that we produce from the studio. This is a custom-built studio built in-house by David Heaney for us to discuss sort of the next steps of personal computing using the very latest technologies. You can see sort of the limits of hand tracking live on our show. And we use the very latest APIs, like Don being able to route in with his extra microphone. I see David Jagno in the comments
I
there.
do.
That's cool.
And he's saying that my hair looks extra shiny. Well, of course, this is the big show. You know, I had to like slick it up and, you know, put some gel in it. And so.
Oh, man, there's so many people in our comments. I can barely keep up with everyone. We've got Ryan, one of our members, as well as
Paradise Decay. Hello, Clayman, Shaggy. Got Smash Drums in the house. So
we can keep track of what you're saying in the comments. We'll call out interesting things. This is a really wonderful place. We love our community and the conversations that we've seen develop around our week in, week out shows. We try not to overhype things too much. We try to hype them the exact right amount when we see something coming down the line. And we love the discussion that we see brewing in our comments, where like there's new people coming into headsets all the time, and to tease the show and what we've put together today, I think there's a lot of mixed reality content in this show, and a lot of ideas that people didn't expect to see out of gaming, right? Like,
I agree.
It's a completely different paradigm when you're talking about what you can do with a headset. And I think the developers that showed up for the showcase this year really believe that, understand that, and their games really reflect that.
Yeah, I think it's a great mix. I mean, you're going to see mixed reality. You're going to see experimental stuff. You're going to see educational stuff. So just buckle up, guys. I tell you what, it's going to be an incredible ride these next few hours.
All right. We ready to get into the first game here? Show Rocking Legend Beck out there. We got Beck out there as our producer, handling everything behind the scenes. Thank you so much, Beck. You've put together an incredible show for us
Crispy.
today.
Yes, we have checked the sound levels.
We did it multiple times. We had panic attacks about it, and I don't think it's going to be a problem. But I won't believe it until I see it myself. Even though
it's technology, guys. You know, you never know. So
yeah, and you can tell us if this is too loud, because this is live. We're doing live checking of everything, and that's ultimately how we've had to break up the show for people that, we've got devs coming in who are single team members. They're in the most random place on the earth trying to realize their project, and they're sending their video across oceans to us to try to get it into this showcase. And we've had to even the most experienced developers in the world with the biggest publisher backing them, they still end up delaying their projects, changing release dates, having to change something in their trailer. It is hard to show up and deliver on what you say in these trailers. So like our heart goes out to the devs that we couldn't include for various reasons that we missed. And then there's just the challenge of having like, how do we present all of this? Do we package it all up and get it out to a lot of different places, or do we have it just in this live event? So in this live event, we've got some of the things that we couldn't fit into the pre-edited event that should be stellar on lots of channels, lots of places. And then we've got some other things here that we just couldn't stuff into that because of the various things that happen in trying to plan these things. Beck, I think we're probably ready to show our first one here, Rocking
Yeah.
Legend. You want to throw
Rocking
that one up?
Legend. Let's rock it.
All right, so that was Rocking Legend. We've got about a little bit over a dozen videos to show through the course of this. We had a lot of rhythm games, some shooters for this showcase, but not overwhelming number of both of those. But it's always interesting to see what is coming down the line in those genres, and we've got some of those today. Don, what has been your favorite mixed reality experience that you've played this year?
Well, I mean, this year there's been a couple of them. Okay, so and I know one of them we're going to see a little bit more of later in the showcase, but the ones that have really gotten, actually a couple of them we're going to see later in the showcase. The ones that I've been very, very interested in. Obviously, one of the first things I covered when I started here at Upload was Infinite Inside, and we'll see a little bit more of that later. It is just a beautiful blending of mixed reality and virtual reality. Another one was Astra. The Astra, we're all kind of Star Trek space nerds and, around here. And I just being able to have that narrative experience and travel and turn my living room into its own starship, and also learn about some different elements on the different moons in our solar systems, and which ones could support life. That was fantastic. And just recently, my guilty pleasure, and it's another one that you'll see a little bit more later on in the show, is Miracle Pool. I used to love playing pool back in college. I was always at the local pool hall, and always wanted one, but who has the space or the money or the budget to put a real pool table in their house? So, Miracle Pool drops an incredibly detailed pool table right in your room, gives you the ability to resize it. You can do multiplayer. It's just a good game. I know we recently covered this on the channel, so go look for my video on that. Look for our article covering it on UploadVR.com, and it is out now already. So grab that game. You will not be disappointed.
Yeah, I'm seeing people in our comments responding to the Rocking Legend. And I loved your breakdown there of mixed reality games. It's such a big year for mixed reality, kind of finding its footing.
That's huge.
And those experiences are really key. I love with Miracle Pool my experience with pool in my personal life was we somehow inherited a pool table at a place we were living. Like we didn't actually, it wasn't ours. It was just left there by the previous owners. And so we would play on that pool table, and there was a rail on the pool table that was dead, right? Your ball would hit that rail and it wouldn't bounce back the same way it would around the rest of the table. And that's very similar to the experience of golfing and mini golfing, where you've got the real life experience of going
Hmm.
out there in the real world of playing those games. You encounter hitches on the greens, you encounter all sorts of environmental obstacles that really shouldn't be there if it was well maintained. And
Yeah,
like that's one of the things you benefit from in VR with like the most pristine physics possible. So very, very cool. Yeah, people are saying they want less talk and more trailers. Well, I appreciate that because that's exactly what we've got coming up in
that's
our
what we got coming
showcase.
up. Yeah,
It is
gonna be
no
a little bit of
talk and
both
all
today.
trailers. Yeah. All right. Do we want to get into? Yeah. Do we want to get into the flip here, or do we want to talk a little bit more, Don?
Well, we can get into the flip.
All right. Let's show the
It's
flip
a
back.
great trailer.
Code Red, outer settlements are compromised.
All right. Well, we've got some news that just broke on UploadVR.com. There's
Oh,
David Heaney out there that just wrote about Live becoming the official tool of
that's
mixed
huge.
reality capture. And, you know, as he was breaking it down in that article, like it's funny to see mixed reality go full circle, right? That was an idea very early on in 2016 where all these devs realized that there was no real way for them to show how amazing it was to play their games, and there was this
Absolutely.
community-driven tool built out there, or built into some apps that let you composite from a fixed point of view a camera into the experience, and then they figured out how to add a tracked object to the camera that you could
Hmm.
sync up. And here we are
It's
today, and
like
all the
magic.
headsets are doing that in real time. They're compositing two realities at once, and you're getting like really cool mixed reality footage of it. You can go check out our what if video on our channel, or the stuff that Don talked about earlier, to see this happening in real time. Well, it's amazing to see the Live tool make that leap as the kind of
Well,
just standard tool across the industry.
and another great thing that the Live tool does that we don't get with the standard mixed reality capture from the headset, Ian, is the fact that it gives you more of a almost third person perspective. It gives for content creators, it gives us the ability to actually show the viewers what it's really like to be inside the VR experience. And that's always been something that's been extremely difficult, for people who create content or show virtual reality experiences on video, is to convey what they're actually seeing in the headset. So having live capture tools is going to really be a boost for the content creator community as well, having
Yeah.
that built in.
Yeah, so there's a question about OBS, and it's sort of a tool used in association with OBS, like a lot of tools are. You tend to feed these things together. So the original way that you composited this stuff to make this mixed reality work is you would have a camera feed, and you would block out everything but the person in VR from the camera feed. So you use a green screen to
Mhm.
block out the background,
It was
and then
highly technical.
yeah, and then the system, the game, would render a foreground and a background, and your OBS system, or in this case Live, would composite those layers into one, and then give you a finished video that's ready to go. Well, you can still do that. You can take your composited stream and then add additional things onto it in OBS, just like your standard tool would. But like to the point of our commenters and the people who really appreciate the tool, there's a lot of customization that the people who behind Live have built into the tool over the years to make it exactly what Meta just did, picked it as the kind of go-to
Hmm.
solution for capturing stuff into the future. And when you go watch our showcase today, keep an eye out for some of those mixed reality trailers. I can't say whether or
Absolutely.
not they use Live in any way, but you can see uh, what good mixed reality capture does to the presentation of your idea. It's like why even show it in some cases if you aren't showing it in mixed reality, because it's just so much better to get the game across. All right, Undead Citadel. I think we're ready for
Undead
that
Citadel.
one next.
Come to me, you demon! Gracias, Crepito!
All right, that was Undead Citadel, and we've got how many more here? More than 10 more, so we'll get
Yeah, we
through
got about
them.
10 more. Yeah. So
It's funny. Yeah, I'm seeing Smash Jump saying, take my money for Undead Citadel. Lots of really positive comments over in our comments.
I got to say, I've played the game. It's been on Steam, and it's in early access, and it was pretty damn good. Obviously, it was still early access, so there was still some rough edges. So I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing where they've gone with this. But Dark Curry, they've given us a game here that has phenomenal graphics. It's got some story to it. The protagonist is wisecracking in a funny way, not in an annoying way. So the combat was satisfying. You've got a range of different combat going on there, swords, spells, bows. So I think it's going to be something that a lot of people are going to really be surprised about. And I'm really interested to see how Dark Curry can get this onto Quest 3.
I'm seeing Fast Lawyers comment about unfinished games. It is such a challenge out there amongst devs to figure out exactly their right strategy for go-to-market, right? You get one first impression with people, you get a demo out there, you get a wish list page. How much detail are you actually able to bring together for that demo? And, there's other devs that just, they don't overthink it. They put it out and they build up a community one download at a time. And there's other devs that spend way too much time and energy trying to come up with a marketing plan. And I'm not going to say what the right strategy is, but we are in a transitional period this year with Meta taking sort of the wraps off of App Lab. Like, that is, for a long time here, Meta has had an early access program on Quest headsets called App Lab, but you had to specifically search for the names of the apps you wanted in order to have them surface. Well, that's changing this year, and you're seeing really weird, oddball ideas suddenly rack up tens of thousands of downloads in very short amount of time because of this change. Well, prior to this change happening, early access on Steam was the only way to kind of just quickly iterate with an open audience. And that's changing this year. So some devs are launching first on Steam. Some devs are launching first on App Lab. Some are launching first on one and then weeks later launching the other one on the other platform. And I'm not saying there's a good solution across the for any of them, but devs are putting these things out into the world to try to get feedback, to try to see people try to find people who see the sliver of genius or beauty in their ideas and hone it down into the exact idea. So when you see something unfinished in early access, you always got to kind of give them the benefit of the doubt, even though don't make that purchase if you're not ready, right?
Never. But I think Spatial Biggs had a great comment about that. You were talking about devs changing up their plans, and he says, yeah, the Meta Store opening up caused a lot of devs to change their release plans, their launch plans.
Yeah, and then of course Sony changing its plans mid-year, right? Like pulling the rug out under devs who may have had pretty robust plans for that platform, having to change midstream. I mean, goodness, they had that game last year that they launched and then quickly sort of closed up. But anyways, yeah, it's difficult to have all of these changes happen right under devs' feet. And, keep that in mind when you're going and looking at these games in early access, or you're trying to understand why they put something out that was just not quite there. They're trying to get you to see the sliver of the good idea, and something always to keep in mind when you're looking at those things.
Agreed.
We ready to talk about the Humble Bundle?
Yeah.
We've got a Humble Bundle segment.
We have a
to
great
show up.
Humble Bundle going on right now, and I tell you what, I'm a huge Serious Sam fan. And if you look at our Humble Bundle that we have going on right now, there's a ton of the good Serious Sam VR games in there. In fact, I think they're all in there.
Oh, I remember seeing Serious Sam at a conference where they had a real physical minigun with a tracker on it, and like you would get all that feedback of this.
That would be awesome.
Oh man. Wow.
Yeah, anything that gives you haptic feedback, anything that takes you deeper down that rabbit hole when playing these games, So
I'm seeing a lot of comments about the App Lab discussion, and yeah, the CS comments. So many gems have been languishing in App Lab for too long because Meta didn't think they were good enough. Well, that has changed, and there's a bunch of devs realizing that they are good enough, and all they needed was their audience all along, and they've got audience coming.
Yeah, look at Gorilla Tag. I mean, Jesus, it's like one of the most popular games out there, and it would have just been buried in App Lab for the longest time, So hey. There's our humble bundle right there. So, Gorn, Tentacular, Talos Principle. Oh, man, if you love good puzzlers and decent graphics for an older game, Talos Principle VR is amazing. So, definitely check out our Humble Bundle.
Yeah, humblebundle.com for that. All right. Well, yeah, I'm loving the Humble Bundles. I'd love to keep that going. Thank you to Humble Bundle for working with us on this. This is really cool set to get together, and you can go check that out at humblebundle.com. Are we ready to talk about Slap Fighter or show Slap Fighter?
Oh yeah, should we?
All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
A little slap fight.
Yep. All right. Let's show that one back. All right. Well, that's Slap Fighter there. I really love the presentation on that one. I'm seeing our commenters responding to it too.
No, it's really good. I mean, the trailer starts, and at first you think it's going to be like a fighting game, and then it just kind of pulls back, and you see the hand, and it's like, what's going on there? And then, yeah. So I don't know. I could see people having tons of fun with Slap Fighter.
It's funny. I love the idea of it, right? Like, it's just the presentation. Yeah, it's gonna be a fighting game. There's a cast of characters. It takes me back to all those old fighting games.
That's what I was going. Yeah.
Yeah, those 90s fighting games where each new fighter that you lined up has a personality, a particular style that you have to figure out how to overcome, and then just very simple idea. Just slap fighting, right? Like so. Can't wait to see how that shapes up. Obviously, the trailer is just conceptual, right? We need to go hands-on and see how that comes together. But very interesting presentation there.
Yeah, I mean, there's no gameplay shown, so I mean, it's definitely conceptual. So once we get our hands on it, though, we'll definitely have to have a slap fight.
But I love our commenters, right? Like they're all ready, right? Like these are people who understand VR, right? Like what is VR made for if not to slap your best friend without any physical
Exactly.
damage, right?
That's great.
All right. I think we're ready for the Obsessive Shadow next one.
Oh, this one's spooky.
Yeah.
This
all
one
right.
looks spooky.
Go get scared with this one.
All right.
Hello? I swear I just heard something. What are you?
All right, our commenters still going off about Slap Fighter.
Yes.
They can't. They're downloading the demo. They're ready to get in there. Kyle's asking for an UploadVR DLC so you can slap me. It would be interesting to have this avatar in there so you could slap.
I'm telling you, when it comes out, we're gonna have like an UploadVR slap fight battle. You know, like.
For sure. Yeah, well, we just showed, we were still talking about Slap Fighter, but that was the Obsessive Shadow just a second ago, really spooky trailer.
No, it is. It is. Okay, so was it just me, or did you get like this sense of dread watching that trailer? Like during the whole trailer, it felt like you were being stalked. You know, it's...
I'm not, you're the person on staff that we're gonna throw all of our horror games at because you
I am
seem
the
to have
horror
like
guy.
you've got a disconnection from it. I can't. Henry's out there too scared. I'm too scared. I'm not gonna do it, Don. So you can go out there and
I
get
got it.
haunted.
I got you guys. Yeah, I tell you what, and we've actually got quite a few good horror games in the pre-show and showcase this year. So
Moonshine, big grinning smiley thing at night. Nope. Yep. Reminds me of
the
PT.
shadow. Yeah, it does kind of PT. Okay, PT came to mind for sure. Yeah.
PT is a very old sort of psychological torment game that had a very big impact on a lot of people, and a lot of game designers have used it as a
big time,
kind of like a transformative experience for just how to kind of play with the player, right?
One thing I liked about this trailer too, I mean, obviously it doesn't show a lot about the game or the plot, I mean, it kind of leaves things vague, but it does have that sense of dread. It's definitely something that I am looking forward to. It has that PT feel, so I don't know. It's one that's on my radar.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, it's very old. I made you all very old. All right, let's move on here, and we're moving through this set pretty quickly here. So I think we've got Rolling Buddy, and then we'll just probably chat for a little while with our audience.
Yeah, we got to kind of smooth it out.
All right, let's show off Rolling Buddy.
Rolling Buddy.
All right, we're back. That's 6 games down for our pre-show here. If you, I guess I'll put out a pitch there. Just mention if you've submitted to the showcase, we couldn't include you. We're so sorry. Please submit next time. Please email tips@uploadvr.com and tell us about progress you're making on the game. Let us know. As long as there's new information in those emails, we don't really take offense to hearing about a game multiple times. Now, there is a limit to that where it can get to us, but we rarely ever see a dev emailing us too much about an idea. But so tips@uploadvr.com. Come at our next showcase. Let us know about your ideas. We're this is a very hard thing to put together because of all the moving pieces, all the devs out there that are changing their plans in midstream. This is our best way that we've been able to figure out how to present it, right? An edited showcase of some really cool things, and then some other things that we couldn't fit into that package presented before. But that doesn't
Well,
mean
there's so much.
we're done, right? Like, we'll be
Yeah,
back
never.
here next week covering games week in and week out, and there's plenty of opportunities for us to cover things next time.
Yeah, we want to hear from you. So please drop us a line, tips at Upload. I know my personal DMs are always open on the Twitter, the X, whatever we want to call it these days. So,
Yeah, and of
and
course,
yeah, if you want to do any sponsorships, talk to Beck.
yeah, Beck is right there, and you can talk to Beck and try to force Beck to make me say something inside the studio as a sponsor message. So let's see. Oh wow, we've got a
I was
couple
gonna say,
comments. We've
yeah,
got
and
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say we got Sleepy Dog Studios in the chat and thanking us, and thank you. The game looks great. So I know Ian with his Vision Pro will probably be checking that one out. So.
And then we've got Mark here with a $5 donation. Miracle Pool has turned into my favorite VR game, period. From multiplayer to
my guilty
physics
pleasure.
to
Love it.
mixed reality. It's my highlight of the year. A must-own for Quest 3. Yeah, you add that to the other sort of mainstays of what the physical world. You've got things like Big Screen that replaces theaters. You've got Walkabout that replaces mini golf. You've got Golf Plus that replaces Big Golf. And then you've got Miracle Pool that's doing a really fantastic job of bringing mixed reality pool table into your environment, right? The number of like luxury goods that you would physically have in your house is
Arcade
dwindling very
cabinets,
quickly.
pool
Yep.
tables. I mean, I would love to see someone come out with something and just call it table games. Give me air hockey, pool. Just let me switch that table out in a mixed reality environment. And another thing I gotta really quickly say about those games is one thing that mixed reality is doing, and I've been in the VR game for a long time, and I've shown a lot of people VR over the last 25 years. Okay. My own family, as an example, my kids in general, they grew up with VR. They are actually of the generation that they can say since they were very young, 5, 6 years old, they have had access to VR headsets. They've never really gotten into it until Quest 3 and mixed reality, because now they're doing something that's familiar to them. When we walked around in my dining room shooting pool in Miracle Pool, it was frictionless. They could put on the headset, pick up the virtual stick, and they knew what to do. Put a little ping pong table like 11 table tennis, or something like that, or arcade cabinets that you could literally have in your room. And make those a permanent fixture, and we're going to start seeing people just walking around in their newly augmented spaces with headsets, because they're going to have those luxury items that they just can't have in the real world, but they're going to be able to have them digitally.
I noticed we've got Maze Theory in our comments, and I'm going to do a little tease here for
Let's do it.
The Infinite Insides trailer in the showcase is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in mixed reality, and it's so simple. It's because it's so simple. It's unexpected how it gets across the gameplay. It shows you exactly how the game plays. It's short, sweet, to the point. Shows you everything, and it's just looks like mixed reality footage, and a really powerful trailer from them. And
it's a powerful experience too. The game itself. I mean, the demo that's been out there on App Lab thus far was eye-opening, even for someone like me who's been in this for a long time. I mean, these crisp, clean graphics, both in VR and AR, and all of that experience happening in your space and being transported to the digital world. It's a really cool experience, and I cannot wait to play the full game.
Yep. And so they released that other trailer. It was sort of the story trailer, and it was CG. You get a sense of what the environment is like. This next trailer that we've got just takes you straight inside the game and shows you exactly what you'll be doing. And I love it so darn much. And there's several trailers that you just get this sense that devs are crossing over this this hump of difficulty. Like it's hard to figure out, how do I build for this new medium, and you can really get a sense in these trailers that devs are figuring out in a real way. Let's look at some of these comments here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I liked James saying Vision Pro could conceivably replace most of my screens. And then, of course, we are seeing it in real time over in the Quest ecosystem. Quest taking ideas out of the Vision Pro, window management, getting all those things into the system. Those things, to credit Meta where it's due, were probably on the board at Meta for years, right? Like they were planned for a very long time. But it does appear that we're getting that same sort of screens everywhere interface out of Quest.
I think what we're finally getting to is parity of the older Oculus software on PC, where we had the ability to have multiple screens, resize screens, things of that nature. So, I don't really think that there's so much copying Apple on that, but I do think that it's good that Apple has sparked that innovation and started that conversation across the industry of how do we start to kind of get a UI that's similar for all users? How do we have features that are standardized and similar?
So Jack B with his comment here saying that he would like to see dogs playing poker simulator with Scooby-Doo voice filters for each player. And I love it. It's fantastic.
Oh, that would be great.
Man, that would be good. And it speaks to the power of what this medium is, right? Like that game design, maybe you could do something funny and make it work on a flat screen, but no, it's because you're embodied as the characters that would make something like that work so incredibly and be so hilarious in VR. Any comments you want to call out before we move into our next section?
Looking through them here. Okay, so yes, one I do want to call out is one more Benjamin. Thank you for your comment on customizable homes being missed. So that is one thing that really kind of hit me hard, and I know a lot of others in the community. I spent years building my custom Oculus home, and when they first rolled those out, and I had it perfect, and I had some stuff in there that was completely custom that I had uploaded, and all of that went away. And we have Quest Home, but you can't customize it. You can't truly make it yours. So I would love to see that come back.
Spatial Bigs commenting on our last little section here. Ideas aren't execution. Floating windows have been in sci-fi forever. They saw good execution. Yeah, very interesting comment. So I'm loving, and the customizable home destroys me, but I think what we're seeing is the reality that your physical environment should ground the placement for a lot of virtual objects.
Augments,
So we haven't seen how that's going to filter out yet. Like Meta is still figuring out and showing us how they're going to handle that. And
that's the dream. That's the dream, is that we get to the point where, and we're starting to see it, like the spatial app. I tested that recently, and it does kind of remember from time to time where you placed things. But that's what I want, is I want to get to the point where we get those augments where I can have that TV pinned to that wall over there, and I can have this chat contacts pinned over here next to my desk, and every time I put on the headset and I go into mixed reality mode, those things are always present in my environment.
Yeah, so people asking us when we're going to start. So the showcase kicks off in just a little bit over an hour, an hour and 15 minutes here, noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern. We are building towards it very slowly here, getting towards the end of the show.
We're getting there.
All right, I think we're ready for the next.
I think so.
Next trailer. It's going to kick off a little bit different discussion. Why don't we show off Visceral Science here, Beck?
Hi, I'm Brian Green, and this fall, the World Science Festival is releasing 3 VR applications that let you viscerally experience the universe, from gravitational waves to stellar vampirism to black holes to the warping of space and time. You and your teammates, using PC VR, standalone headsets, or even a cell phone, can explode stars and pilot shuttles traveling near the speed of light, and on occasion, join me for live events taking place on our virtual stages. So this fall, explore the cosmos in a new way with the World Science Festival's Visceral Science VR series.
So I'm seeing a couple comments after our last discussion here. That was Visceral Science, very interesting education-based experience. Curious to see more about it, and I'm loving the comments here. So I want to talk about these. Davin Bigelow mentioning, I miss my 100 or so Rift game cartridges I could grab and use to launch apps
and
on
you plug them
PC.
into the cartridge, you plug them into the console. It was so cool.
Yeah, and it's so what I think is what we're gonna have to watch for is you had all these ideas that you and our audience, that Don remembers, that I remember, these ideas that were cool ideas, but they got smushed and smashed out of the meta like idea. Like it wasn't the right time, it wasn't the right idea for them, and they smashed all those ideas away. And here we are on Vision OS, and like you see it in various games where like what Delta is running on all the major systems now, and you can put games inside of that, and then in various games you can have cartridges that resemble their actual games. Like we will see this is going to be a recurring story. Ideas that were explored at Meta that just weren't the right time or the place for them, they canceled it, and it got realized years later in the right like form. But Visceral Science, education, Don, education is going to be a huge segment of VR, and it's not flashy. It doesn't excite people the same way games do, but it's massive, and it's going.
But it, you know, in a way, I'm not gonna lie, it should. And the cool thing that we see in this trailer, right? You know, and I'm really interested to check out the app as well because I'm a science nerd, is that this being a new medium of learning something like science in a collaborative way has a bit of gamification to it. So what is that going to do? It's going to keep the learner engaged, you know. So I think that the educators are starting to figure out making this content more interactive and gamified is a pathway to keeping the student or learner more engaged and interested in the content. Therefore, they stay in longer and they learn more.
My favorite example, I'll make this recommendation to everyone all the time. Titans of Space. Go find Titans of Space on your platform of choice. Put it on someone you want to understand why the universe is amazing, right? If you have someone who doesn't understand that like astronomy is fundamentally different from astrology, and you know those are actual objects up there in space orbiting us and causing gravity, like you put a person in Titans of Space, and in the first 30 seconds you will understand fundamentally in a way no other medium can deliver the size relationship of the moon to the earth to the sun. You look to the right, you see the sun is just enormous, unfathomably large compared to everything else.
Do you remember the end where it starts going through the different suns and how in relative perspective to our sun they are, how large? But when you get to Betelgeuse and, you know, it's just up in your face and you just feel so small.
Yeah, fantastic.
It is an amazing experience that has been kind of lost to time, unfortunately. You know, I think with the resurgence of new people in VR, I love the fact that you brought that up. If you are new to VR, go find Titans of Space. It is a wonderful, beautiful experience that you just have to see.
Yeah, and I'm seeing Ray Holder saying my PhD thesis is gamification of virtual reality education. What a fantastic topic.
That's a real thing? That's awesome.
What's interesting, what we're going to have to worry about or watch in our reporting is the same gamification tools that you use to engage a player can be used to distract a player from very important things that they need to see. Suppose you use a gamification technique to get a person looking at the weird creature dancing over here while you've got the privacy policy over here. And you use this distraction over here to distract you from looking at what they're going to do with your information over here. That's the type of thing we have to keep an eye on. I've seen some really interesting research from people at I think Berkeley it was, that were like looking at ways that that those techniques could be used to reveal things about the players. So imagine you could track a person's eye movements, and then you track how long they're looking at text on a wall. And some of the text is in English, some of the text is in Japanese, some of it's in 4 other languages. And based on how long the person is looking at the text on the wall, you identify what language they speak, because they would look at the language they speak longer than the rest. Those are the types of things that we have to be very aware of when it comes to VR. I would be curious to read that thesis, because it is a big area that we are always paying attention to. I want to show Stunt Double Joe McFlash. Are we ready?
I do too, because I'm like in love with this trailer.
All right, yeah, it's very Missouri in my head. I'm sorry, Don,
yeah,
about
okay,
that.
yeah, you want to throw down on Missouri? I see. Okay.
All right, let's show that one, Beck.
Tonight, on the Really Late Show, we have the best stunt double in the world. Introducing Joe McFlash, the epitome of precision and daring in the world of stunt driving. Join us as we delve into the illustrious career of this remarkable individual, renowned far and wide as the best stunt driver in town. Get ready to witness the heart-pounding action and adrenaline-fueled moments from the numerous movies where Joe McFlash has showcased his unparalleled skills and left audiences on the edge of their seats. And now, let's take a little peek into some of the movies throughout Joe's career.
Action. Quiet on set. Places, everybody.
Make the jump. Go straight on. Go through the gap.
See you all soon in Stunt Double, starring Joe McFlash and you.
Cut.
Well, that was Stunt Double Joe McFlash. What did you think of that one, Don?
I gotta say, I like it. I like the concept of the game, in the fact that, it doesn't really show it in the trailer so much, but it's all based like you're on a talk show, and the Joe McFlash is being interviewed, and it's kind of cutting to his memories, and it has that stuntman vibe from like the PS2, if you remember that one. And I don't know why I was also getting like Driver the Wheelman vibes from like PS1, just in some of the driving sequences. But it looks great. I mean, Moonshine Games has a unique art style to all of their games that I really like, that low poly style that they do. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing this one.
Yeah, I'm seeing our commenters kind of all over the board, but a lot of really, the love and the care for the story and the characters that we see in that trailer, I think really came across to a lot of our audience.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's difficult to have to kind of convey what a game feels like to play, as well as get people invested in the universe itself, the characters, and that was a cool trailer that really showed you a very different kind of universe than many.
Well, and it also shows a
universes.
juxtaposition for people, because like you got one more Benjamin here saying not loving the graphics, but graphics aren't everything. And I love the graphics. I like that low poly style, so that's a personal thing. But he's got something really, really important here where he says graphics aren't everything, and that's one of the beauty things about VR. It doesn't have to have AAA high quality polished graphics for me to feel present, immersed, and part of that world.
Yeah, so people in our audience ready to wish list, look up that game. They're getting excited for it. They're taken back to the games that you remembered on. That we can't wait to see how that
big time
comes together. I think we're ready for the next one here. We're moving up. Let's see. We're just over the halfway through our video, so I guess we could talk for a few more minutes. Let us know in the comments if you have any specific questions about VR headsets. We're in a transitional period. You can come to our VR download podcast each week, where David Heaney and I discuss the latest broad trends and hardware that we need to think about. So if you're looking to upgrade your headset or buy a headset for the first time, that weekly discussion with David and I is a really great way to track what's going on when you want to make your purchase. It's not easy to make that choice of what am I going to do $300 now or save up for $1,000 and a PC? And like that's not easy. There's no right answer. There's it's up to everyone, and we try to give a lot of context to our audience so that they can not buy the Quest 2 at $200 right when it's being if you go and do that, you at least know what you're getting, right? You're getting an old device that isn't going to run the latest and greatest hardware or the
Which
greatest
you can't even get
software
right now because it's temporarily out of stock.
Yep. So anyways, we've got the download. We've got our Gamescast. Come tune in to those shows where we will take these questions on an ongoing basis, get those answers for people. And
I'll even throw it out there
Decay.
to the audience. One idea we've been kicking around internally is starting to do some live game streaming on Fridays. So if you guys would want to see something like that, throw us a comment. Let me know if you'd like to see me stream games on Friday afternoons and just kind of talk about VR and the game I'm playing.
All right, Jack, you're speaking from the inside of my brain. You pulled that straight from the inside of my brain here. Okay, so Jack's comment here. Step 1, Meta should collect obsolete quests via trade-ins. Step 2, make an education suite free of software and just give it out there for free. Step 3, Meta refurbs and donates 12 headsets to every school everywhere.
I love
Step 4, a VR generation is born. 100%. You just nailed exactly what Meta should do. I kind of argued about something similar to that on VR Download. David Heaney is on the record years ago with an editorial at this point saying that Meta needs to have a trade-in, a buyback program to keep people on this journey. Well, this is the excuse, right? You seed schools across America with a 6 DOF positionally tracked system with controllers or hand tracking. You give them Quest 1s and Quest 2s.
Exactly.
You've got them by the millions, and nobody's going to be using them on any software. And bam, you've just upgraded millions of cardboard boxes to proper good VR, and you've onboarded a whole bunch of kids into your Meta ecosystem. It's absolutely something that
that would be amazing. And I mean, to think that that's how kids could learn in the future. And I know I've said that on Gamescast when we've had a similar conversation in the fact that, I got bored in school. So watching the boring old school movies and just sitting there reading out of a textbook. I'm not that kind of a learner. People learn in different ways. So the minute that it becomes interactive, boom. I mean, sky's the limit.
I'll make a book recommendation here. Go find Experience on Demand by Jeremy Bailenson at Stanford. They've got some very interesting studies there. One of the studies that I remember that they did at Stanford was they studied how a teacher's gaze affects how much a student remembers of the information that's being taught to them. And so they did like experiments and tests to show that if they simulated the teacher's gaze so that it looked like the teacher was looking at the student from time to time, it sparked an increase in the retention of the information. Now, it's been years since I've read that. I may be butchering the research after all of these years, but it was a very impactful idea to realize that gaze itself has a big impact on what you retain, how you retain it, and that's all things that are going to be altered by VR over time. Any comments before we move on to the next?
Looking through them here.
James saying Meta will not do what we talked about. People talking about road rash. Yeah, I love the idea of road rash.
Loved road rash.
Big chain in your hand, smacking the motorcyclist next to you.
And why? Why do we not have that? We have hand tracking. That would be so amazing. I've got this hand on the bike. I've got this hand with my nunchucks or my chain. I'm just whacking people as I ride past them. It would be freaking great.
Yeah, Nicholas saying that I've ignored global schools. Yeah, so there's take it a step further, and VR headsets in places where you could just put. I heard this at Augmented World Expo last week. There are places in the world where the Industrial Revolution almost skipped the people of that region. Just no industrialization ever happened. You could take a VR headset into those locations and train people to do things with the headset that would have required physical hardware to train someone on.
Oh, big time.
You could like instant activation of ideas with VR headsets in a much quicker way than you could with any other training system. So yes, there's a global opportunity there for education, and we are not ignoring it. Breachers?
Yes. Okay.
All right, so Beck has given us something to talk about here. I know nothing about what Beck has shown up on TV, but I'm thinking it will mean something to the Canadians in our audience.
It's a French pineapple. Okay. And so Beck is telling us it's a French pineapple.
Yeah. Wow, Robbins. Wow, and our audience really does know about the French pineapple from Canada. So apparently Beck believes that if this was in VR, people in Canada would learn to speak French much more quickly. So that is an assertion. Yeah. Well, I'm afraid right now that's a very low resolution picture that you put in front of us in VR with no warning. Like,
I will have nightmares about this at some point.
It looks like corn. It doesn't look like pineapple, but
it does look like corn. It's like like little niblets. And so,
man, what are people doing? They just tuned in to see this thing on the show. Like, wow. All right, let's.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say, anybody tuning in right now, we are not having a rollicking discussion about pineapples or corn in VR. Or the French, or the
I'm
Canadians.
now scared though, okay, because Beck has just demonstrated that she's growing into her powers as producer and can totally mess with our reality at any moment, right?
At any moment, we don't know what's going to be on this screen.
Yeah, like I've been afraid of this with David for years now, right? Like David has complete control of my reality here. I've come into the studio here, and all I've had were my hands in front of me and just the black void of existence everywhere else. And it's, man, that is messed up.
So Den Masker V says, I did just tune in hello, what the we're just having some fun here. So
we've got an hour towards the actual showcase. This is a Canadian pineapple. We've got nothing else to explain here with that, but apparently
this
people are remembering.
We need to fill time. Yes.
We've got 1 hour to the actual showcase, and we have about 7 more videos to show off.
7
in this
more.
hour.
Yeah.
Let's get into Breachers. Let's show this latest level for.
This is one of my favorite shooters.
Introducing our next update of many since launch, our biggest map yet, Dam. Revolters have infiltrated the dam to destroy it, navigate industrial hallways with long sightlines, outsmart opponents around turbines, stay alert in the visitor center, and watch out for enemies on the top floor. Take back control as enforcers or defend your position as revolters. Victory awaits. Dam is available now.
All right, Beck's gonna fix it. Beck's gonna fix it.
It is a problem.
We're sorry.
And we are working on it.
We're sorry. All right, we can talk. We were trying to express our shame to our audience while Beck tries to fix it. We can.
Well, I mean, we do have audio.
We do have. We're sorry. We're sorry. Shame. Get the bell out.
Wait. We need the South Park. We're sorry. We're so sorry. Sorry. Sorry.
Don, your voice is you've been practicing your voice work for too long. It gets me sometimes.
I have. Yes, I know. I will refrain from becoming multiple personalities on today's show. So it was definitely the pineapple. Yep, pineapple's fault.
All right, Beck's trying to figure that out. We got to talk about something else. We've got Match Point Tennis coming up after Breachers.
Yeah, we do.
I see Match Point Tennis in our comments. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got to tell you, I love the fact that we are seeing more physically active games in VR.
Oh yeah, it's funny to see kind of the difference. Like physically active, right? It's Beat Saber was, let's just slash at everything in this world. I'm
Right.
going to cut it all up. And now it's like, well, what if I don't want to slice up everything? What if I want to keep a few things right here, just
Yeah.
to use for later? And that's like literally where we are with some of these developers. Like, oh wait, we've actually got a space where you can not destroy everything. Let's see
Oh,
what
yeah.
you can make with VR.
No, I mean, well, I've been doing it a lot. I am really, and I know Meta doesn't encourage it, but I am really loving the whole yard scale VR thing. I'm a Star Trek fan. I got into VR at a very early age because I wanted to holodeck. And I mean, I know a lot of us do. And, being confined to a small, 5x5 space or, 6x6 space, it's not the holodeck. So if you got a large enough space, and you can set some boundaries, especially playing in mixed reality where you don't have to worry about not seeing the world, go out, go, experiment, have fun. It's amazing.
A couple comments, people trying to figure out what headset to upgrade to. So we are expecting a Quest 3S very
Yeah.
soon. That's the leaked
on the
name that
horizon.
we would suggest, that we've seen suggested. But of course, I think Pico may also announce something very soon. We've seen indications that Pico is nearing to release of their own system, but we don't know what regions they'll release it in. PSVR 2 in August is going to release an adapter so you can hook up a PSVR 2 to a PC. But specifically for those people who are like in the Quest 2 price range, you've got $200 to $300 to spend. We have been recommending since last year, do not go and get a Quest
Don't do it.
2 new right now. The upgrade from Quest 2 to Quest 3 is enormous. It's the processor that changes. And the processor is the brains, the rendering engine. Everything that you see and experience in VR is built by, that chip has something to say about it, right? And
Big
the
time.
chip, it's generational, how big the chip upgrade is going from 2 to 3. And we expect that the 3S is going to be priced close to the price of where the Quest 2 is, but carrying all of that extra power that we see in the Quest 3. So it's a terrible time to go and try and get a last gen headset. Now, there's exceptions to that. Let's say you're a person who wants to try out Supernatural and just use this as your fitness regimen. You could actually go and make a pretty good case of going and getting a Quest 2 to test that out. It's going to be, heavy.
Yeah.
It's going to get outdated pretty quickly, but that's a very purpose-built, like, using it for that specific use case. It makes a lot of sense because you're not going to care with when all the new games, some of the games in this
Exactly.
showcase come out that only work on the new headset.
So, and I know it was way up in the chat, and I'm so sorry I did not catch it. I saw it earlier, but I did not catch who was saying it. But we did have a question earlier about that of a user who was using his Quest 2 specifically for PC VR, and should he upgrade? So, what is your feeling on that, Ian?
Wow,
If they're
that's an
just
interesting
going to do
question.
Steam Link or Virtual Desktop or Link and just play PC VR games on it, is there any huge advantage to moving to Quest 3 other than visual? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
gonna
that's
be
a
a
tricky
little sweeter.
question, right? Like you're future proofing your investment. That's the
Mhm.
reason to go and get a Quest 3, right? You're
I agree.
investing in a platform that Meta has signaled that they're going to support for the next several years. So you're all the games, all the content. That's what you're going and ensuring that you have well supported if you go and get a Quest 3 right now. And PCVR, right? Like I'm going to argue that upgrading, like if you're going to upgrade right now from a Quest to, like, let's say you've got a Quest 2 right now, and it's only a Quest 2, you've got nothing else. The best upgrade I'm going to argue that you can go get for your Quest is a PC. Go
Yeah.
get a VR ready PC and you give yourself Half-Life Alyx, you give yourself Microsoft Flight Simulator, you give yourself an incredible array of high-end simulation experiences that are not available in any way, shape, or form on the Quest 2 natively or even on Quest 3 natively as
Exactly.
a standalone experience. And then you've given yourself a nice, 6-month, year time to just breathe in, smell the roses inside of VR, right? Go look around City 17, see what it's like to play Half-Life Alyx, fly across the universe in Elite Dangerous, see how great No Man's Sky is with that extra power compared to like a console. Do all those things and give yourself time to think about what your next headset is that you want to drive both via PC VR and via standalone.
And
But
I
you know,
agree.
that's just one route. There's other routes to go too.
There's so many routes, and you know, and here's the thing, guys. We are still so in the beginning of this industry that it's not going to be like a console cycle. It is going to be closer to a cell phone release cycle. I mean, not per se once per year, but we are seeing headset after headset after headset come out, whether it be standalone, whether it be PC VR. So, you know, getting that headset today, you know, yes, you do want something that is going to future proof you, but don't feel like you've always got to chase the next dragon per se. I mean,
So one more Benjamin asking this question. Gamertag mentioned a Quest cloud gaming service like it's a thing. Was he trolling us or did he just leak something I didn't know about? So
he is not trolling you. I was actually reached out to by that company as well. I'm not going to really talk about it just yet because they're not fully available. I think they're rolling out in the UK.
So for context there on people that might not see our reporting on this. So a couple years ago, Meta instituted a rule that said you could not get full release on the store for your app if it streamed a PC without physical access to the PC. If its explicit purpose was to basically do cloud streaming. So they instituted this rule, and a little while ago, there's this company called Plutosphere that was rolling out exactly that. They had cloud streaming, and you could basically pay for tokens to do what we're talking about, right? If you had a fast enough Wi-Fi connection and you were near to one of their server stations, you could basically log into the Plutosphere app and then play games like Half-Life Alyx or PC VR chat on your standalone headset with all of it streaming from a wireless PC. Well, that's not the only solution working on that idea. It's a very big idea to try to cloud stream your content. But even in the studio, reported exclusively by UploadVR.com, we got into it with the developers of Plutosphere, and the problem was they picked the wrong time.
It was the wrong time.
Yeah, they picked the wrong time to roll out their service. There's not enough people writing, you know, with good enough access, and they were blocked partially by that rule change that Meta instituted years ago that requires physical access to your PC. Well, I don't know if we have Guy Godin, the creator of Virtual Desktop, out there today, but Guy Godin, Virtual Desktop, you can go download that app on all headsets almost, and the Quest version is this go-to incredible utility that everyone uses to stream their PC to their standalone headset. But critically, Virtual Desktop, all of its software, everything that's built it's built so that you have physical access to that PC that you're then streaming to the headset. All this is to say that Meta has reserved for itself this area of functionality. They have said, not directly, but in so many words, when we are able to scale this, we will roll it out. So we're going to, they haven't made any promises explicitly of this, but we have seen indications of the streaming idea behind the scenes that they're going to try to get there. But it's enormously frustrating here, this area that I'm describing, where, you know, devs want to essentially prove out that you can stream great PC VR from the cloud. And Meta is over here saying, you know, we're actually only going to do it with either ourselves or the partners we choose.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the area we're in right now. So it is on its way. It is coming. But it's actually an area that we're going to keep reporting on. Please support our work. Become a member. We're one of the only places looking into this area, trying to offer, you know, an outlet for people to explain what is happening to them when it comes to like platforms pushing them in certain ways, you can support the work we do as journalists here by going and becoming a member at UploadVR.com or becoming a patron. And yeah, you just asked a question that is very near and dear to our heart of how do we get those experiences like Half-Life Alyx streamed from the cloud to our headsets? But, who's going to own all of those internet lines, and how much are you going to have to pay per megabyte is an absolute question. So it's, not bogus. It's coming. The question is what way, shape, and form. Beck, did we get Breachers figured out? All right, let's
Are we
show
ready for Breachers?
then.
Okay, good.
Introducing our next update of many since launch, our biggest map yet, Dam. Revolters have infiltrated the dam to destroy it, navigate industrial hallways with long sightlines, outsmart opponents around turbines, stay alert in the visitor center, and watch out for enemies on the top floor. Take back control as enforcers or defend your position as revolters. Victory awaits. Dam is available now.
Long black screen. Oh, damn. All right. Well, that was great.
Yeah, damn.
Damn.
Right.
Everybody in the chat. Damn.
Yeah. Nice.
Damn, that looks cool.
Yeah, I'm instantly brought back to GoldenEye every time I see you can't build a dam level without taking people back there mentally, right?
Oh, big time. No, that's exactly where it took me back to. And, I will say Breachers has definitely had some staying power since it came out. And I'm really loving seeing that. It is one of my favorite games to just drop in and casually play if I just want to join a team and do that. I love the breaching. But, this new map is definitely something that the community wanted, and I cannot wait to play it.
All right. Well, I think we got to show Match Point Tennis here. We got about 45 minutes left to our showcase. Match Point Tennis has been in our comments this whole time. I think
They're
we got to
waiting.
show that one off soon.
All right, let's do this. Let's roll that beautiful bean footage. There we go.
Oh, nice shot. Wow, that was fast.
Game, set, match.
All right, Match Point Tennis out there telling us that we got the sound out of sync and then correcting themselves live. So, okay, it wasn't our... I don't think we screwed that one up, but yeah.
I think it was okay. I think it was good. And, and the trailer looked great. I got to say, I love the fact that this actually looks like real tennis.
Yeah, It's a challenging thing, right? It's another one of those categories where you're going to have intense competition to kind of be the one game that serves arcade audiences and simulation audiences. Like there's some people that are going to want as close to the real thing as they want, and as well as just weird modes or different gameplay. And Match Point Tennis looks like it is trying for the simulation aspect, but it's tricky, right? It's tricky to find that balance and really appeal to everyone. I can't wait to try that one out. The one that has been in my head, like tennis is one of those games up there with table tennis that strains the tracking capabilities of this hardware, right? If you go and see professional sports, they are doing everything at peak performance, right? They're throwing the balls, hitting the rackets at speeds that just, if you did it with a VR headset, the hand would move from here to here, and it would be a blurry mess to the lenses, to the cameras. I'm just so curious to see what games here in the next little bit really nail it so that you can play the games in VR and actually train in VR for your actual play, right? Like there's still a gap in many ways between using these headsets for training and getting better at them and actually using those skills. Like I don't think like
No,
people who
absolutely.
love table tennis, 11 table tennis gives them an opportunity to play the game, but I still think there's people that are smashing those balls so fast that it just doesn't fill that gap for them. And I'm really curious to see if games like Match Point Tennis will get there.
And I think it can, because I mean, eventually, what is all training? It's building muscle memory, when you're doing something like this. And so as long as you actually have a good solid frame rate and everything's feeling smooth and you're getting that muscle memory of how to swing, I think that could really translate into real world. One thing, and I mean, this is just kind of a real world example, 4VR bowling. Okay. I love to bowl, but I've never been that good at it. I played a bunch of 4VR bowling and then went bowling in real life and almost doubled my score because it just felt natural. And again, I do try to recreate these. So like on the tennis, here, I would want to go to a real tennis court and try to map out my boundaries so that I'm actually getting the feeling of running on a real court. So same thing, I mapped out a play space for the bowling and I actually got better at my game. So yes, it can happen. I mean, we could use VR as a training and simulation tool. There are some companies out there like Rezzle. Rezzle actually they cater to professional athletes and have several sports available in their apps. So it's happening, it's out there. But I think it's just great that we can, again, you want to take this back and make it like educational again. Well, what was part of education was physical fitness. So you could now incorporate that into a VR education curriculum. So now you've got physical fitness, now you've got learning. I mean, it's
I'm loving the comments on this. A lot of people really responding to the look of Match Point Tennis, like in the way it looks. And let's see, where
it's kind of also got that Wii Sports throwback. I don't know.
So I saw a question about GoldenEye. So there was a person mentioning they wanted GoldenEye in VR, and then Jack's comment saying that they have Mario Tennis on the Virtual Boy emulator side-loaded. They still love it, but I could use an upgrade so I don't feel like Mario is serving the ball in the fiery bowels of hell. Being the red color. The red color of the original Virtual Boy. So I love that reference. And to the GoldenEye comment, I have to make this, just bring people up to speed who aren't aware that this is happening. But you can go and buy hardware and stick a cartridge into the hardware, and it will make a ROM for you of the cartridge you put into the hardware. And then you can take that ROM and then put it into an emulator on pretty much any VR headset imaginable and enjoy the game again. Now, then there's incredible work by members of the VR community. So Flat to VR Studios, as well as Team Beef, and several other groups out there, all exploring crazy ways to port original games into VR. And Don, you have been on the forefront of trying these out. Tell those people about Tomb Raider and what you've found in Tomb Raider this year.
Man, I tell you what, that was one of the more transformative mods that I've played. And that's just coming from the fact that I am a huge Tomb Raider fan all the way back to the original release in like 96, 97. And to be able to play that game again, but from this whole new, fresh perspective. And then when they added the mixed reality mode, it literally became like two different sandboxes, playhouses all in one. I could do it dollhouse style and really see all the levels, but then I could expand it out and literally have Laura standing next to me life size. It's just amazing to see how Team Beef and, like you said, Flat to VR, they're taking all of these amazing games that we all came up in pre-VR and bringing them to not just ported out virtual reality, but full virtual reality, 6DoF, hand tracking. Go and right now, one that I still go back to at least once a month, the Doom 3 mod. It's one of the oldest ones that's been out there, but my God, they have just recently added real-time shadows to it, which changed the game tremendously. You want to be terrified when you start seeing shadows of stuff coming up from behind you. It is visceral.
Spatial Big's calling out the dollhouse mode in Tomb Raider.
Genius.
And yeah, so what I'm reminded of there, Don, is do you remember in racing games, in most racing games, you just hit the triangle button to
Yes.
switch camera angles. You got, one button, you go wider view, and one button, you go even wider, and you're outside the car, and you can see the other cars butting up against your car, and then you press the button again, and then you're inside the driver's seat. That's what Team Beef seems to be doing, what I've seen out of some of their most recent mods. And it's reminding me of, like, gosh, like all this exploration has taken me on such a journey, right? I've got Tetris, right? I've got the original Tetris cartridge that I have been enjoying in VR through the same route that I've talked about. But you have to hit the start button on Tetris to go through the menus, right? Because they didn't use the A and the B buttons to go through the menus back in that day. And every single person that goes and tries to launch Tetris from 1989 has to be trained, oh, it's actually the start button to get through this menu. Well, it feels like we're in that phase of VR development where devs are really honing in on all of these little things to make all the classic games work however you want in VR. So like you want to play Tomb Raider, maybe the best way for you, because you get motion sick, is the dollhouse mode.
Yeah,
or maybe because
exactly.
you don't get sick, you can hit that button again and go first person, and you've got Laura's blocky arms for your arms. Or maybe you're somewhere in between and you hit third, and you can have her in front of you and the level all around you, and you've got all your field of view narrowing. This is the stuff that Team Beef is ironing out just because they love the medium.
And you can
it's
tell.
amazing to see.
And you can see the love in their work. And that is what's amazing to me is that, Simon and his team have been doing this since the Gear VR days, and there's just no stopping them. I mean, every other month we see some amazing classic brought back to VR. Prey. Oh God, if you go play Prey. If you've got the stomach for it, I'm just saying, play the Prey mod. Any of the Team Beef mods, any of the stuff from Flat VR Studios, join their Discords, check out what they're doing over there. These guys are amazing, and they are literally pushing VR gaming forward. So we really, really, really encourage you to support them.
I'm seeing several people mention to go check out the Doom map in Pop 1, so go check that one as well. Let's move on to our next video here. Strike Rush. Let's show Strike Rush.
Okay, short but sweet.
Yeah, we've got 30 minutes here to our showcase, pre-edited for everyone who's joined us throughout the who missed the beginning, right? We pre-edited the showcase that's coming up here in about half an hour. We're taking live comments here, a lot of discussion with devs. Thank you so much to the devs. Thank you especially to Smash Drums for sponsoring this showcase. It means a ton to see your support of our work and the work that we do. We have done we've made an enormous effort with this showcase to try to highlight devs
really
that
have.
are small and big, just alike, give them both a chance to shine, to get their ideas out there. And, if it looked cool and there was a good spot for it, we tried to fit it into the showcase. And we did check audio multiple times. So if you've watched one of our previous showcases,
we are ready.
Yeah, we tried to fix that. Let's move on to Already Dead. Let's show that one. We've only got a few more here. And that's already dead. So a lot of people in our comments creeped out by the vibes, and they're reminded by those old games like Silent Hill.
It definitely has that Silent Hill creepy vibe to it. And, you know, a lot of people are kind of confused as I was. It's like, what is this actually about? You know, so it's definitely one that we're going to keep our eye on. Let's see, Resident Evil callback. I don't know about Resident Evil, but definitely got that Silent Hill vibe.
Mr. Lord Beavis here. I appreciate your work to bring us the VR news, even though I have no interest in Apple Vision Pro. Absolutely understand that sentiment. We I think that's reflected in our coverage, right? Like, we are very cognizant of the fact that the Quest headsets, all the Quest headsets, are priced in a completely different category for different reasons, and they're much more interesting because of that price, right?
Absolutely.
So that matters a lot to our audience, and we want to make sure that we cover the things that they are, you know, actually looking to spend their money on. That said, there is a professional layer, professional devs out there that are curious what Vision Pro does, and you know, I don't have to have sourcing to know that the Meta ecosystem and the Meta executives, the people who are working on Meta's headsets, are absolutely going to be watching what Apple Vision Pro is doing to inform what they're
everybody
doing.
is.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole industry is. And, you know, I've been saying this since pre-release of the Vision Pro. It is a great headset. I finally did get to try one. But I don't really think it was meant for consumers. I really do think it was meant for developers to get their feet wet in that Apple ecosystem, you know, to start really learning Vision OS, you know, and I think that when Apple brings the non-pro version that they've been, you know, starting to leak out and tease, that may change some things significantly for the Apple side.
I wonder if our viewership, I can't see how many are tuned in right now because it's not showing us, but I'm wondering if our viewership is going up. Yeah, as we move closer to the
We're getting
actual
close.
main showcase, and I'm seeing more people tune in and popping up in our comments here, and Mooncall saying that they're glad to finally reveal Already Dead. VR and AR have so much left to explore with new ways to play and experience things. This is still just the beginning. Thank you for your hard work, UploadVR. Thank you for sharing your trailer with us. And thank you to all the devs who shared their trailer and their work with us. It's
Hey,
been...
I want to... No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I just wanted to... That just hit me right there. I just wanted to say thanks, DSAX VR. He says, hey, you guys they're really enjoying the pre-show, and they feel like this is the metagaming showcase replacement they all needed. So,
well, I appreciate that. And I do want you to take that sentiment into the showcase when you see the games that we've selected. You see the ideas shining through their videos, right? Like, this is a transitional year for Meta. This is a transitional year for Apple, for Sony. They're all like trying, you know, their strategies were affected by the pandemic. Their strategies were affected by manufacturing issues. And they're all like transitioning their stuff right now. Well, it's left devs in kind of a bind, right? They don't have a lot of supporters, a lot of places where they can get their ideas out broadly. And just for teasing out there what we've got in the show, we've got content from Creature, several projects from Creature. So if you're unfamiliar with Creature, that's a label started by Doug North Cook. They call themselves a label to differentiate themselves from the publishers out there, to try to explain that they do something a little different when it comes to their partnerships with developers. And some of the first games that we have in our showcase coming up at the top of the hour are games that have been basically pushed through by Creature. They've been honed in various ways by, you know, just them rescuing some beautiful ideas out there and helping work with the devs hand in hand to get those ideas realized. So if a dev asks you to wishlist their game, they're specifically looking for, you know, a data point that they can use to say that they're on the right track. If a dev is looking for you to download a demo or give them feedback, it helps them. You will hear those calls a lot through our show. Try to be understanding that a lot of these ideas are early, they're just glimpses. But also, I want to get across that idea that, like, if you go and look at the work from Creatures, they've got 4 projects in this showcase. You are seeing the beginning of like a new type of gaming. You're seeing games that use your physical environment in new and innovative ways that take you back to like the beginning, right? You remember that sense. Some of our viewers remember that sense of 2016, getting that Vive, putting those laser base stations in opposite ends of the room, and then walking in a full circle around your environment and interacting with, taking that deep breath of air and walking several steps around, right? Mixed reality brings that back. It's been years,
magical,
right?
Magical
it's been years.
feeling.
And we've got a lot of those games in this showcase, and I could not be prouder to have those games in this showcase.
So I got to say, I just on that subject, I mean, I say it a lot, okay, so I'm the old guy, whatever. I've been doing VR for 25 years. Mixed reality has me more excited than anything has in a long time. I mean, it is fresh, it is new, it is cool, it is inclusive to everyone, it is transformative. And I really can't wait for you guys to see some of the mixed reality content that you are going to see in the next hour.
Yeah, so Zork VR, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate the great VR coverage, discourse, and advice through all the hard work by everyone at UploadVR. That is exactly what we try to do. Thank you for noticing it. Thank you for the super chat. It means a lot, and we are keeping at it. It is, the reason Don and I are obsessed with this, he got into this, he mentioned holodeck. Holodeck is the model in my mind for what I want.
Always.
Right? You come into a room, you speak what you want, the computer gives it to you. That's our dreams in our head, and we are going to get a lot of other things on the way to that dream. That's why we're obsessed with this technology, and you are all on that journey with us here too.
It has been a long, strange trip indeed, and it's even going to get stranger as we go forward.
All right,
so what do we have? What's the next trailer?
OVRDARK. We've got 2 left on our list here. Let's show OVRDARK and then talk for a few more minutes.
I need peace.
Crazy. What are we gonna do?
Don't leave Louisiana. I'm in the middle of something. I'll be back soon.
George, where are you?
Promise me you won't get mad.
Do you know?
Well, that was OVRDARK, and we've got about 20 minutes left here before we throw over to the pre-edited showcase with some stellar announcements. Go check out UploadVR.com for all of the news on those announcements. We've got dozens of articles lined up to go out
so much content
as everything is announced. Very, very cool, interesting things. I love some of these comments here that we had talking about our last subject here. Let's see, Dunadim's comment. Where was it? Yeah, full room scale VR feels like a trust fall. Mixed reality removes that feeling. It's good but different. Very, very interesting comment. That takes me straight back to my very first time in the Vive Pre. I remember it was at Weaver. I think they had their different name back in the day. In Long Beach area, and they had the wired controllers, I think, hooked up to it. So you had these wired controllers, if memory serves, as well as the wired headset. And I watched the person in front of me walk up to the barrier, the chaperone, and stop themselves right in front of me. And I was like, oh crap, that's how easy it is to walk into a wall with this system. And sure enough, so I put the headset on a minute later, and I have all that experience in my head of seeing this person nearly walk into a wall. So I'm walking around the bow of a ship very slowly, trying not to smack into something. And yeah, MR removes that. But at the same time, the other comment, Fast Lawyer, I'm not as big on mixed reality. It reminds me of the early days of VR back in 2016, 2017, when 90% of VR games were simple mini games with room scale and simple interactions. Totally get you there.
I get that. Yeah.
I think the issue, so I'll let Don go talk about OVRDARK and flashlights here, but the room scale, the thing that they're talking so spot on. That is, it's a wonderful point about mixed reality, and I'm not sold on mixed reality either. But go look at some of these trailers of what some of the people are building here, and you get a sense of like usefulness of the MR. Like it's there for a reason, and then when it goes away for a reason. And what you're seeing is devs like learning in real time how to use the tools they've been given in the last 6 to 9 months by these devs. Like Meta is changing these tools all the time, and devs have to like go and change what they've built because the tools have changed right underneath them. So I think those comments are spot on. But what I'm seeing in the showcase and the videos that we're going to have, I think you're going to start seeing devs pushing past, and you'll start seeing some gameplay ideas that really start to make sense of the tools they've been given.
Yeah, and I as much as I want to talk about the flashlights and OVRDARK, I got a comment on that as well. So it is. I've never trusted the boundaries. In all the years that I've been doing VR, when I'm in full VR, I still, like you said, I'm apprehensive. I can kind of feel when I'm getting to the edge of my play space. You never really know, but I'm always apprehensive that I'm still going to punch through the boundaries or I'm going to do that. Mixed reality removes that. I get to see everything around me, so I'm no longer confined. And going into the conversation about it being similar to back in 2016, 2017, when we had things like Oculus Share, this is a new medium. Developers are just now getting their feet wet. So we are going to see a lot more of these experimental type games and experiences versus whole games. And we need that because this is how the developers, and through our feedback, are going to finally incorporate full-blown mixed reality and augmented experiences for us. So.
I'm seeing the developers of Pixel Rip during our comments teasing their new game. That I do want to say that their game that they brought to the showcase is one of my favorite concepts.
I love it.
It's a match made in heaven, right? We covered a game quite recently. I don't think I can say it because it would give away what game that they're doing. But like there's embodiment, right? Embodiment is the power of VR. And this game from them plays with embodiment in a way that a lot of devs are starting to play with.
Very interesting way.
And yeah, it's silly, it's fun, and I'm thinking the audience of people who are buying headsets are going to find a match made in heaven with that game. But
so real quick, let's shift gears because we didn't talk about OVRDARK, and you did bring up something that I wanted to talk about. In this trailer, you see one of my favorite things, especially in horror games and VR, and that is the use of a flashlight. And I don't know about you, but ever since the early days, if you put me in a dark VR environment and you give me a well-designed and lit flashlight that really, the light plays nice, it does something in my brain, and it literally instantly sends me to a moment of presence every time.
Yeah, it's interesting so what has been the best flashlight that you've seen in VR?
Ooh, that's tough. Actually, I'm going to go back to like a modded game. Actually, the flashlight in Doom 3. the Doom 3 mod. Now that it plays with the real-time shadows and stuff, it is so cool to like just sit there and make shadows with the flashlight. So, but I don't know, it's just something about that, and maybe it is, once again, it's a familiar feeling that devs can kind of nail, and when they do nail it in a game, it's something that tricks your brain. But I just throughout OVRDARK, and I have played OVRDARK on PSVR 2, and it is really spooky, really good use of narrative. They don't rely on jump scares for this game, so I really enjoyed it. But I don't know, it's just something about me and flashlights. So
We've got about 15 minutes left, and we've been told not to spoil
no
the
spoilers.
Brazil-based game there, but it is a cool one coming in our
No spoilers.
showcase, and I'm very excited for it. It was one of my favorites to see that one pop up out of nowhere. And do want to just tease out the ones that I know we can talk about, right? Like, so we've got Creature, and they've got, I'm not going to give away the one at the top of the show, but Laser Dance is going to be there with a really cool clip of Laser Dance.
Very
We've got also Starship Home. We've got our deepest look at Starship Home and how that one plays in mixed reality. And then there's a lot more beyond that. There's I saw the Infinite Inside confirmed their participation, and that was the one we teased earlier in the show. Is just really, really cool gameplay clip. But I appreciate our audience, sort of interested, but they're also cautious and skeptical that some of these things are going to work, and that's how we view these trailers to begin with, right? Like lots of really weird ideas, interesting ideas, funny ideas. I've appreciated the people in our comments joking with us about some of this stuff. VR is, it's everything. It can be silly, it can be serious, it can be anything you want it to be. And with this show, we've had an ability to pull together a really cool collection of like just the strange ideas that are coming to VR.
It's going to be a ride. It is definitely going to be a ride. So
Wired Productions is ready for this. Very cool to see them, and Nick as well. Thank you for tuning in. We've got about 10 minutes left.
We still got one really cool trailer to end out the pre-show here, or at least one of my favorites, just because I'm a space nerd.
So. Yeah, why don't we throw this one up, and then if you've got any questions while this is playing, throw that down into the comments so that we can think about it in our last little section before we hand you off to our showcase. All right, so that was Solara One. Don, you were excited about that one, right?
Man, I am. Anything that gets me out in space and has a sci-fi kind of feel to it. There's just a lot going on in this trailer, and I just cannot wait to play this game.
Yeah, so we are in the final stretch here, 10 minutes left until our showcase, with just chock full of announcements in the hour-long event. Want to apologize again to anyone that we were not able to stuff in. It's been a hectic journey that we are honing basically showcase after showcase. We're getting better at it. Thank you so much to Beck for handling so much of the organization here of the showcase, of getting it all together. But it has been an enormously difficult thing to try to get as many devs as we can in, with not being all one kind of idea in our show, trying to get a range of ideas, try to get changes in, right? Like that's one of the
Yes.
things that is one of the like hard lines we're going to have to keep in the future. We did it a little bit this time, but in the future, right, we can't take late changes, or if we get a late change, we're going to have to throw it into, like, we're going to have to move you out of our pre-edited event and move you into the live event so that you can, you know, still be shown in along with everyone else. But, you know, it's tough out there. Want to encourage devs to submit to us in the future, to give us your interesting ideas. When you've got a slice, we will try to showcase it or cover it if it sparks our interest, just like it sparks you, right? Like,
Yeah,
we
we
don't
love VR. We want to show you guys everything there is about VR, AR, MR, XR, whatever R there is. So just keep them coming. Tips at UploadVR.com.
Yeah, tips at UploadVR.com. Don's ready to jump into your thing. And we have these conversations, right, where, you know, you might not spark his interest. You might spark mine. You might not spark my interest. You might spark another member's of the team's interest, right? And if Don finds something cool in VR, like, my job is to kind of help him figure out how to show it to you guys. And that's how we do our work, right? So bring us interesting things, convince us that it's interesting, and we will try to show it to our audience, right? And it's kind of how we've built out this whole system. So yeah, I've seen people remembering like our reminder at the beginning. I'm using a built-in microphone on the Quest 3.
Yes.
Don is using an external microphone. So that is the difference in audio quality here. When you get to our showcase, we don't have any
That
of
will
this
be
discussion.
solid.
It's just straight video here in a few minutes, straight from those trailers.
And sorry for the disconnect, guys. If you've watched the Games Cast the last couple of weeks, you've noticed that we've been having some problems with my microphone on the Quest 3. So today I am using an external mic, since that is now part of the experimental features on Quest 3, that you can plug in a USB mic for a little higher quality. Say you are in a voice chat situation, gaming, you know, sometimes that Quest 3 mic just doesn't cut it. Get yourself your favorite external, and you can use that now.
Yeah, it's funny. It's Don, the way Don discussed it here, and you and I even need to discuss travel for events and how we plan things. I just covered AWE, right?
Oh yeah.
And that was last week in Long Beach, and I covered it with my VR headset and my Meta glasses. So I had my Apple Vision Pro.
Oh, this was cool.
And I had my Meta glasses. And at one point during this conference, I tried something really weird with Don. I started a WhatsApp call on my iPhone, and then I double tapped the button on my glasses, on my Meta glasses, to show Don the view out my glasses from this event, right? Then I walked out on the show floor with my iPhone in my hand, with Don looking out my glasses, and I got disconnected. The glasses and the phone disconnected from one another the moment I got out on the show floor because of all the Bluetooth interference. But that was okay, because I wanted to try step 2 of that journey, which was taking the same WhatsApp call and then mirroring it into the Apple Vision Pro using the direct connection mirroring functionality. What you saw in that event with me and Don testing out this ridiculous thing that did not work as it is that glasses and headsets are here. I've got this question again and again. I put this question to Michael Abrash. We have it on our channel when we went and visited Meta. What is the future of computing? And it appears that the future of computing are glasses and headsets.
Yes.
You've got VR headsets for home use. You've got AR glasses to take out with you everywhere. And there's a good argument to be made. We'll wait for the data from Meta. But there's a good chance that they're selling more of those Meta glasses than they are VR headsets, right?
They can't hardly keep them in stock. I mean, they are selling them so fast.
And that's without any display inside of the Meta glasses. And all of our audience knows that they're trying to put that display, and they're trying to do the things you can do with a VR headset and AR glasses. And we all know it's going to be extraordinarily hard, right? So that's the journey we are on together. You're on with us, is to see, how do these glasses get more powerful? How do these VR headsets get more powerful? How do they get less weight? How do they do more? And we're doing it in real time. And Don, like, when we go to future events, I'm not seeing a whole lot of reason to send a videographer and a writer. I'm seeing us needing to send one person who's wearing a pair of Meta glasses and capturing interviews and then writing about those interviews for us.
For the time that it worked, seeing through your eyes on the show floor was transformative. It was very cool.
And we've got 4 articles. Several of them or all of them have videos captured directly on the Meta glasses of interviews of people explaining the next steps of personal computing directly to the Meta glasses. And, that's what we are as a publication, where we're at the cutting edge of how to do this stuff. And it's not easy, right? Like, the biggest roadblock to us this last week, Don, was bandwidth.
Yeah.
Bandwidth is stopping VR headsets and AR glasses from doing what they can do, and that's what we're gonna see
so many
change
pieces,
here, right?
so many pieces that need to come together from so many different industries to make it all happen. But we are so close.
So people are getting psyched for the showcase. We've got only 5 minutes left. We've got a link down there in the comments. You can go over to it. I think we'll probably also try to redirect people to it. That is being rebroadcast on lots of other places. I do want to encourage one more time, go to uploadvr.com, click that support us button in the corner. If you understand, you see what we're trying to do here. We're trying to highlight what is interesting, moving the bar forward for all of us in terms of enjoyment in these headsets and the time we spend. And we've got a cool collection of those things together in this showcase. And you can support our work, help us get more people, more money to do more of this work by going and becoming a member or a patron. Why are there VR haters from Fastlore? People have time to go to a VR stand to complain about not having VR. Yeah, I love that. There are a lot of VR haters out there, and
jealousy.
We're going to get to laugh at them more and more and more, and their criticisms are going to become more and more biting, right? Like, I don't. You're wasting your life in VR. We're rounding the corner to that because the case is getting made that VR is that useful. Right, like, you only are going to become more and more down on it over time if you're already down on it. So, you see plenty of people.
Haters gonna hate. That's what it is, guys.
We are living rent free in their heads. I like doing a Dim's comment.
We are. We are.
VR is the future. They just don't know it. Yep. And that's ultimately, let's leave on that note, right? VR is the future. You've got an Apple Vision Pro at $3,500. That's a VR headset. They don't call it a VR headset, but it absolutely is, and all of our audience knows it. And then you've got Meta about to announce their brand new headset that's going to, their last one sold 20 million plus at a really low price. And this new one is going to have all the power of their $500 one in an even smaller price, right? It's going to be a massive year to end on for VR, and we're going to get to show you a ton of really cool things that are going to populate those headsets near the end of the year. We've got some things launching in our showcase next month in July. We've got a few things that are launching both on Quest and Apple Vision Pro simultaneously. So there's a couple Apple Vision Pro things in our show. There's MetaQuest things. There's things that are launching on all platforms, Steam. Want you to thank you to your support for us, but please carry that support over to the devs. Their work putting themselves on the line out there, trying to shine. And, if you've got feedback, try to gear it in the direction of positive feedback. Try to tell them what they can do better, because devs are always trying to improve what they're doing.
Yep.
Thank you so much. We'll send you over to the show. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Beck.
Thank you.
Have a great show.
All right, guys. It was great. Enjoy the show.